Hi, friends and family. Hey, loved ones. Hey, magicians and gardeners and fools. How you doing? How you doing today? Happy spring. So we just had our spring equinox, and I enjoyed hosting a circle for Ostara celebrations and our fertility celebrations and celebrating life and all we really are. Enjoyed that yesterday. Got together with a few people and a few loved ones and friends and enjoyed just sharing together and being here together and inspiring and activating one another just through like that gathering of minds, gathering together. And it was really sweet, and I enjoyed our time. I enjoyed our time together and all we got to share and create and inspire within each other. And I was happy to give some gifts and share some gifts and receive some gifts. The gifts of life and beauty and creation and fertility and nourishment and nurturance and everything that's life sustaining and life affirming and that honors life and contributes to life and really understands like the beauty that we are and we get to live and that we get to embody and we get to be. And there's so many things that have been coming in for me, and it's it's so full and so free right now and so abundant. There's so much abundance. So that was like one of the things that I was like most thrilled and happiest about and feeling joyful about, that there is so much abundance and I have so much abundance to share. And I love that. I love it. So it feels really good, and it feels a lot brighter and lighter like every day. Like, of course, there's moments, working out certain things, but like, all in all, everything's looking up. Everything's feeling great. And just showing up and being me, being here to participate. So, my last video, I did a little just sharing about Imbolc, or not Imbolc, but Ostara and the vernal equinox. And then a couple days before that, I had been writing a poison pen letter and a forgiveness letter. And like, it really did help me. It's nothing I hadn't like really expressed before, like with my previous like poison pen letters, but I don't think I allowed myself to like really express all that I needed to until I just wrote my last one last week. It's almost been a week now. And so since then, I've been working on and working through like different layers of forgiveness, and also like investigating and excavating and looking into like those things that I wrote down that I was so angry about and so like feeling such feelings of hostility about. And kind of helped me see a couple of different things about where I could respond to me and where I was hurting and where I felt abandoned and rejected and betrayed. And so it really was super helpful for me to allow that expression in a safe way, in a way that's more creative than destructive, because it's not like directed at anyone else or targeting anyone else, although I do like, because of a personal lens, um yeah feeling like a wound activated in certain ways, where it is like that wounded parent wounded child dynamic at play, or the codependent narcissist dynamic, or like the judge victim savior martyr complex, machine of conditioning. And like that we need to be, when we need to suffer to be worthy or to be seen, or that virtuous victim type of thing. And that's what I've been so upset about, like where we're choosing our own suffering, but like um and just wanting to avoid the suffering. So like kind of being angry because, oh, what are you doing? You're just creating more suffering. Like, but then seeing like where I might be recreating or recycling or perpetuating that same suffering within me because I get to let go and I get to forgive. And so, that's the gift of forgiveness and the miracle of forgiveness. And then, like, snake medicine has been huge this week. And I shared a little bit about snake uh, with my Ostara symbolism video. And I may go into snake a little bit more, but, and also, like the dragon and the salamander. And so it is like fire, too. It feels like the baptism by fire, the cleansing of the fire. Fires of purification, fires of creation, fires of renewal, fires of regeneration. But and like I was saying yesterday, like the sun has like the positive and like destructive, or like creative and destructive qualities. And so, so does fire. And so it's interesting to look at how it can be a renewer and bring warmth and radiance and activate like growth in us and in life, through life, of the light. But it also has its destructive qualities where it can burn and devour or everything around it as well. And so kind of looking at those things and like how anger can help us with our creativity or creative actions, or they can destroy everything around us. We can destroy ourselves from within. So just looking at like, those kind of coinkydinks and correspondences and the energies and qualities that can be seen through certain symbols and certain elements in creation. But I just wanted to share like a little bit about my forgiveness and some of the things that have come in since then. And I really do have a better understanding now, and I feel like I have gotten some closure and release. And my worst anxieties ended up coming true, and but it was like I had a choice to be in acceptance and know that it was really okay, and know that it was a gift, and know that it was a lesson, and know that it was love for me and we. And so that does feel a little bit lighter and brighter, that everything really is okay, even though it's not in certain ways, but everything is being healed, and all is healed already. All is full and all is well and all is complete already. And that just reminds me of this little book that came up like a couple times, and I had thought about it, and then I was listening to a podcast on Saturday, and this book was mentioned. It's The Little Soul in the Sun by Neal Walsh, and I bought it about 12 or 13 years ago, and just loved it so much. Just, of course, kept it in my collection, and it's been a while since I picked it up, but I was nudged a couple times, like through my intuition, and then it was mentioned on a podcast I was listening to, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get that out. So I got it out yesterday just to have out in my sacred space, and I started reading it this morning, and I just started crying again because it is about forgiveness, and it is such a beautiful story. And I wanted to share a little bit with you, and then I'll share my forgiveness letter and some of what came through, some of the other, magic and miracles that came through. So this is The Little Soul in the Sun. So once upon no time, there was a little soul who said to God, "I know who I am." And God said, "That's wonderful. Who are you?" And the little soul shouted, "I'm the light." And God smiled a big smile. "That's right," God exclaimed. "You are the light." The little soul was so happy, for it had figured out what all the souls in the kingdom were there to figure out. "Wow," said the little soul, "this is so cool." But soon knowing who it was not enough. The little soul felt stirrings inside and now wanted to be who it was. And so the little soul went back to God, which is not a bad idea for all souls who want to be who they really are, and said, "Hi, God. Now that I know who I am, is it okay for me to be it?" And God said, "You mean you want to be who you already are?" "Well," replied the little soul, "it's one thing to know who I am and another thing altogether to actually be it. I want to feel what it's like to be the light." "But you already are the light," God repeated, smiling again. "Yes, but I want to see what it feels like." "What that feels like," cried the little soul. "Well," said God with a chuckle, "I suppose I should have known. You always were the adventuresome one." Then God's expression changed. "There's only one thing." "What?" asked the little soul. "Well, there is nothing else but the light. You see, I created nothing but what you are, so there is no easy way for you to experience yourself as who you are, since there is nothing that you are not." "Huh?" said the little soul, who was now a little confused. "Think of it this way," said God. "You are like a candle in the sun. Oh, you're there all right, along with a million cajillion other candles who make up the sun, and the sun would not be the sun without you. Nay, it would be a sun without one of its candles, and that would not be the sun at all, for it would not shine as brightly. Yet how to know yourself as the light when you are amidst the light, that is the question." "Well," the little soul perked up, "you're God. Think of something." Once more God smiled. "I already have." And God said, "Since you cannot see yourself as the light when you are in the light, we'll surround you with darkness." "What's darkness?" the little soul asked. God replied, "It is that which you are not." "Will I be afraid of the dark?" cried the little soul. "Only if you choose to be," God answered. "There is nothing really to be afraid of unless you decide that there is. You see, we are making it all up. We are pretending." "Oh," said the little soul, and felt better already. And then God explained that in order to experience anything at all, the exact opposite of it will appear. "It is a great gift," God said, "because without it you could not know what anything is like. You could not know warm without cold, up without down, fast without slow. You could not know left without right, here without there, and now without then." And so God concluded, "When you are surrounded with darkness, do not shake your fist and raise your voice and curse the darkness. Rather be a light unto the darkness and don't be mad about it. Then you will know who you really are, and all others will know too. Let your light so shine that everyone will know how special you are." "You mean it's okay to let others see how special I am?" asked the little soul. "Of course," God chuckled. "It's very okay, but remember, special does not mean better. Everybody is special in their own way, each in their own way. Yet many others have forgotten that. They will see that it is okay for them to be special only when you see that it is okay for you to be special." "Wow," said the little soul, dancing and skipping and laughing and jumping with joy. "I can be as special as I want to be." "Yes, and you can start right now," said God, who was dancing and skipping and laughing right along with the little soul. "What part of special do you want to be?" "What part of special?" the little soul repeated. "I don't understand." "Well," God explained, "being the light is being special, and being special has a lot of parts to it. It is special to be kind. It is special to be gentle. It is special to be creative. It is special to be patient. Can you think of any other ways it is special to be?" The little soul sat quietly for a moment. "I can think of lots of ways to be special," the little soul then exclaimed. "It is special to be helpful. It is special to be sharing. It is special to be friendly. It is special to be considerate of others." "Yes," God agreed. "And you can be all those things, or any part of special you wish to be at any moment. That's what it means to be the light." "I know what I want to be. I know what I want to be," the little soul announced with great excitement. "I want to be the part of special called forgiving." "Isn't it special to be forgiving?" "Oh, yes," God assured the little soul. "That is very special." "Okay," said the little soul. "That's what I want to be. I want to be forgiving. I want to experience myself as that."
Good, said God. But there's one thing you should know. The little soul was becoming a bit impatient now. It always seemed as though there were some kind of complication. What is it? What is it? The little soul sighed. There is no one to forgive.
No one?
The little soul could hardly believe what had been said. No one, God repeated. Everything I have made is perfect. There is not a single soul in all creation less perfect than you. Look around you. It was then that the little soul realized a large crowd had gathered. Souls had come from far and wide, from all over the kingdom, for the word had gone forth that the little soul was having this extraordinary conversation with God, and everyone wanted to hear what they were saying. Looking at the countless other souls gathered there, the little soul had to agree. None appeared less wonderful, less magnificent, or less perfect than the little soul itself. Such was the wonder of the souls gathered around, and so bright was their light that the little soul could scarcely gaze upon them. Who then to forgive? Asked God. Boy, this is going to be no fun at all, grumbled the little soul. I wanted to experience myself as the one who forgives. As one who forgives. I wanted to know what that part of special felt like. And the little soul learned what it must feel like to be sad. But just then a friendly soul stepped forward from the crowd. Not to worry, little soul, the friendly soul said. I will help you. You will, the little soul brightened. But what can you do? Why, I can give you someone to forgive. You can? Certainly, chirped the friendly soul. I can come into your next lifetime and do something for you to forgive. But why? Why would you do that? The little soul asked. You who are a being of such utter perfection, you who vibrate with the speed that it creates light so bright that I can hardly gaze upon you. What could cause you to want to slow down your vibration to such a speed that your bright light would become dark and dense? What could cause you who are so light that you dance upon the stars and move throughout the kingdom with the speed of your thought, to come into my life and make yourself so heavy that you could do this bad thing? Simple, the friendly soul said. I would do it because I love you. The little soul seemed surprised at the answer. Don't be so amazed, said the friendly soul. You have done the same thing for me, don't you remember? Oh, we have danced together, you and I, many times. Through the eons and across all the ages we have danced, across all time, and in many places we have played together. You just don't remember. We have both been all of it. We have been the up and the down of it, the left and the right of it. We have been the here and the there of it, the now and the then of it. We have been the male and the female, the good and the bad. We have both been the victim and the villain of it. Thus have we come together, you and I, many times before, each bringing to the other the exact and perfect opportunity to express and to experience who we really are. And so the friendly soul explained a little further. I will come into your next lifetime, and I will be the bad one. This time, I will do something really terrible, and then you can experience yourself as the one who forgives. But what will you do? The little soul asked, just a little nervously. That will be so terrible. Oh, replied the friendly soul with a twinkle, we'll think of something. Then the friendly soul seemed to turn serious and said in a quiet voice, You're right about one thing, you know. What is that? The little soul wanted to know. I will have to slow down my vibration and become very heavy to do this not nice thing. I will have to pretend to be something very unlike myself, and so I have but one favor to ask of you in return. Oh, anything, cried the little soul and began to dance and sing. I get to be forgiving. And then the little soul saw that the friendly soul was remaining very quiet. What is it? The little soul asked. What can I do for you? You are such an angel to be willing to do this for me. Of course, this friendly soul is an angel, God interrupted. Everyone is. Always remember, I have sent you nothing but angels. And so the little soul wanted more than ever to grant the friendly soul's request. What can I do for you? The little soul asked again. In the moment that I strike you and smite you, the friendly soul replied. In the moment that I do the worst to you that could possibly imagine, in that very moment. Yes. The little soul interrupted, yes. The friendly soul became quieter still. Remember who I really am. Oh, I will, cried the little soul. I promise. I will always remember you as I see you right here and right now. Good, said the friendly soul, because you see, I will have been pretending so hard that I will have forgotten myself, and if you do not remember me as I really am, I may not be able to remember for a very long time. And if I forget who I am, you may even forget who you are, and we will both be lost. Then we will need each other. Then we will need another soul to come along and remind us both of who we are. No, we won't, said the little soul. Promised again, I will remember you, and I will thank you for bringing me this gift, the chance to experience myself as who I am. And so the agreement was made, and the little soul went forth into a new lifetime, excited to be the light, which was very special, and excited to be that part of special called forgiveness. And the little soul wanted anxiously to be able to experience itself as forgiveness and to thank whatever other soul made it possible. And at all the moments in that new lifetime, whenever a new soul appeared on the scene, whether that new soul brought joy or sadness, and especially if it brought sadness, the little soul thought of what God had said. Always remember, God had smiled. I have sent you nothing but angels. And so, yeah, that's a beautiful children's book and story. And it does, resonate and touch me deeply in a lot of ways because of the gratitude and the humility that I do feel, and yeah, just what that story that does activate the truth and the remembrance in me of who we really are and who I really am and all that I am, all that God is and all that life is and all she is and all we are and all thou art, all I am. And so, yeah, it does. It does. It's such a blessing, and it does relate so well, so much to what I've been working with and playing with and going through and through this hell. And so, yeah, sometimes we do need to go through hell to find our well. And so, yeah, that's what I'm grateful for, willing to accept and willing to allow and willing to let go of how others are meant to learn their own lessons and remember who they are. And so, yeah, that was a lot of where my frustration was coming from. It's amnesia, and also it seemed like an unwillingness to see, or a refusal to see beyond that right and wrong. And so I understand a lot of it now. And so I went through my poison pen letter, and I kind of looked at a few parts of it, and it was just kind of able to see into where my wounds and where I disallowed me, where I rejected me, where I betrayed me, where I forgot myself, where I denied myself, where I abandoned myself, where I fooled myself, where I dishonored myself, and because I didn't know. And so, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
how I could see it on the outside. And it really just really bothered me. But then going back and bringing it back to me to clear it within myself and to transmute it within me and come back to me and accept the invitation to show up for me and to be love for me and to gather and bring all of my parts back to me that I had abandoned, rejected, or denied, or hidden. And so I'll just share a little bit about like what I had written and like some of the things that I had realized, and then what I experienced, what I got to experience this week, which is like kind of doing my best to be in acceptance and letting other people have their lessons and their choices, and allowing me mine, and allowing me my fullness, and remembering that we're here together, and that we're all part of the same one mind. And so that's coming up a lot too, with the inner teacher and the number 5 and the hero, the Hierophant. And so I also went to look at the High Priestess today, just because of like something that was mentioned yesterday, and it's like, oh yeah, our creativity and our ability to duplicate in the mirror and all of that, because the twin's been coming up so much lately. The twin, that's another archetypal theme that's been coming up. So the double or the twin or the number 2. And so I was going to look at the High Priestess in my tarot revision book by Lee J. McCloskey. And actually I opened up to the Chariot, to the art in the beginning of the book of the Chariot, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, I'll have to look at the Chariot leader. And I was the Chariot leader, and then I flipped open to find like the symbolism and symbolism of the card and everything, and I opened to the Chariot again. And so it was kind of funny. So I just read the Chariot like right before like I pressed record. I read a couple pages of it, and I was just like, wow, that's so cool. So I'll share that at the end. But super awesome synchronicity and this relatability to what I'm experiencing now. And just appreciate like those little winks of wisdom and how everything is available for us now, if we're willing to receive it and open to it, soften to it, and allow it to come in and through and forth for us now. And just inviting like what we need, and invoking and blessing and praising with love, faith, grace, and strength and humility. So March 18th, Thursday. It felt somewhat lighter earlier in the day, brighter and lighter than it was yesterday. Tensions were less so in the morning, and I didn't feel as charged with trigger-happy energy. But wow, it seems like there is definitely wild and fiery energy at play, a tinderbox or a cleansing. Meltdowns, breakdowns, collapses, breakouts and breakthroughs, purification, mortification, revivication, dragons, phoenix, and salamander. The savior, victim, martyr complexes, wounded child, wounded parent, fragmentation. The remedy is love and compassion, forgiveness for this, wound of separation. Surrender, grief and presence, allowance, faith and self-acceptance, mercy, grace and full expression, a willingness to be and witness, to release and choose forgiveness. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. I forgive. I choose to forgive. I am willing to forgive. I forgive them. I release them. I forgive myself. I release myself. I forgive myself for not knowing. I forgive them for not knowing. I forgive us for not knowing. I forgive us for all we have co-created and perpetuated. I forgive this pain of separation. I release this pain of separation. I forgive us for our stupidity and naivety, our misplaced trust. I forgive us our ignorance and our forgetting. I forgive us for our self-made suffering that we continually perpetuate. I forgive us for our arrogance and vanity, our ego vanity, and ego flattery. I forgive us for our weaknesses and insecurities. I forgive us for our self-doubt and self-loathing.
I forgive us for our misdirected or hijacked energy. I forgive us for our miscreations. I forgive us for our sorrows and addictions. I forgive us for not knowing and for not honoring. I forgive us for the harm we've done in love's name through our human forgetting. I forgive the lower ego. I forgive the inner beast. I forgive us for clinging so tightly and wanting to rigidly defend, isolate, and compete and control everything. I forgive us for our mistakes and our messes. I forgive us for all of our limitations. I forgive us for our humanness. I forgive us for our false idealizations. I forgive us for our self-deception. I forgive us for our ego manipulations. I forgive us for our delusions and confusion. I forgive us for our vanity, pride, and self-righteousness. I forgive us for our sins. I forgive us for going against ourselves. I forgive us for harming, destroying, dishonoring our souls, hearts, lives, and minds. I forgive us for harming and dishonoring life, the sacredness of life. I forgive us for living out these lies and rejecting the truth of who we are. I forgive us for playing small and hiding out, for not valuing or seeing our true self-worth. I forgive us for not choosing life, choosing and honoring life, trusting, celebrating, and caring for life. I forgive us for not trusting ourselves. I forgive us for not owning our power. I forgive us for giving our power away. I forgive us for denying our wholeness, our legitimate right to be. I forgive us for rejecting our birthright. I forgive us for disallowing ourselves. I forgive us for being or playing at being victimized and hypnotized. I forgive us for disowning our power, the fullness of our own darkened light. I forgive us our trespasses. I forgive us for not accepting ourselves. I forgive us for wanting to be right. I forgive us for being wounded and imperfect. I forgive us for our unwillingness to look into the dark and the light. I forgive us for our immaturity. I forgive us for being at war with ourselves. I forgive us for feeling overwhelmed and afraid. I forgive us of being afraid of our own power. I forgive us for I forgive us for harming ourselves. I forgive us for forgetting ourselves. I forgive us for not knowing ourselves. I forgive us for dishonoring life in ourselves. I forgive us for not loving ourselves. I forgive us for not owning ourselves. I forgive us for not freeing ourselves. I forgive us for not caring for ourselves. I forgive us for not claiming ourselves. I forgive us for not being ourselves. I forgive us for playing at being something else. I forgive us for deceiving ourselves. I forgive us for not trusting ourselves. I forgive us for avoiding ourselves and our responsibilities. I forgive us for not being accountable to ourselves. I forgive us for hating ourselves. I forgive us for condemning and judging, rejecting, punishing, controlling, and squashing ourselves. I forgive us for blaming and scapegoating, targeting someone or something else. I forgive us for not understanding. I forgive us for not seeing, feeling, sensing. I forgive us for not knowing how to be with ourselves. I forgive us for distracting, numbing, avoiding, denying, canceling out ourselves. I forgive us for denying, suppressing, repressing, oppressing, abusing, and hurting ourselves. I forgive us for choosing pain, sorrow, shame, and suffering. I forgive us for wearing masks, playing roles, and pretending we have it all figured out. I forgive us for our unhealed trauma. I forgive us for feeling afraid to heal. I forgive us for giving our power away to someone else. I forgive us for agreeing to lies and false stories. I forgive us for our own toxicity. I forgive us for our errors. I forgive us for our own pride. I forgive us for our confusion and illusions. I forgive us for everything. I forgive us, and so let it be. I am willing to forgive and release all these things that cause division, pain, and suffering, or contribute to division, pain, fear, and suffering. I forgive the tyrant, and I forgive the victim. I forgive the monster. I forgive the whore. I forgive the fraud, the liar, and the deceiver. I forgive the martyr, the miser, the usurper, the saboteur. I forgive the narcissist. I forgive the codependent. I forgive the good girl and good boy. I forgive the trickster, and I forgive the fool. I forgive the devouring mother. I forgive the absent father.
I forgive the black hearts, the poisoned mind controllers. I forgive the paralyzed warrior, the social justice spoiler. I forgive the dictator. I forgive the willing slaves. I forgive the abuser. I forgive the survivor, the ignorant survivor. I forgive the persecutor. I forgive the scapegoat. I forgive the judge, jury, and executioner. I forgive the mother and father. I forgive my sister and brothers. I forgive myself. I forgive the other. I forgive the shadow caregiver. I forgive the shadow rescuer. I forgive the sacrificial lamb. I forgive the worship of false idols and images. I forgive the shadow savior, the knight in shining armor. I forgive the virtuous victim or the damsel in distress. I forgive the maladjusted psychopaths and the pop cult of personality. I forgive all the amnesiacs, hypochondriacs, and entitled wounded soldiers. I forgive the wounded child. I forgive the epicure. I forgive the orphan. I forgive the self-absorbed. I forgive the hungry ghost. I forgive the abandoner. I forgive the escape artist, and I forgive the addict. I forgive the lost and the discarded. I forgive the perfectionist, idealist, hedonist. I forgive the sadist and the masochists and the ascetic. I forgive the false stories, myths, and programs. I forgive all characters, scripts, and lies. I forgive the whole mess of inversion and perversion, and I release it to God, love, Creator, with gratitude, humility, and compassion, mercy, faith, strength, and grace. Thank you for helping me self-realize who I really am, all I really am. Snake medicine, transmuting the poison into nectar, transforming the venom into the antidote. The same force that liberates and heals is the same force that binds and conceals. I've been here before. And so, yeah, that was my little work on forgiveness on the 18th. And it did continue a little bit of that again. It went further into it as well. And towards the end of my journal here, which I have a fun little thing to share about that. So this lovely sketchbook that I've been using as my journal, because I like to do it without the lines. I don't want to color inside the lines. Don't make me do that. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, let me be free. Let me be free to express who I am so I can be who I need to be. And it's like, yeah, with the little soul in the sun, it's like knowing who we are is one thing, but to be it is another thing entirely. And like, yeah, it's just like playing at being that, or being that, like what we already are. We don't have to pretend so hard because we already are. But sometimes, yeah, the pretending is what's fun about it. You know, what can be adventurous about it. But yeah, it's just so perfect, really. This little story, this little children's story, and simplicity, you know, and the child, like innocence. So at this time, it really is all about innocence and that, yeah, that carefree youth, that phase of our lives. And that was like a lot of what I was mourning as well, was the loss of innocence, and also of that child, the loss of that child's innocence and those carefree days, you know. And yeah, that had a lot to do with so many things that were coming up for me. And just like with my inner conflicts that I was having, like I totally know, like one side of me knows already, yeah, we're all here to experience something. We're all here to learn something. We're all here to know ourselves and to love ourselves and to be ourselves and to free ourselves. And so, like, nobody needs saving, but it's just like, where does that savior, that victim, savior, hero, monster, villain, beast, you know, story or dynamic, where does that come into play and trips up, you know, in certain ways? And because it's like one thing to know something, but it's another thing, yeah, to practice it and apply it and to embody it and to be it and to know it. Yeah. So one thing to see it and then another to be it. And so, yeah, just like working through and looking at those things Yeah. And those lessons of forgiveness and letting go of the resistance. And so what was really bothering me too was that I don't feel like I've been listened to or heard. And that was what was coming up a couple months ago, where it was like, okay, that's my inner child. Like, I wasn't heard. Like, these different parts of me that had been exiled and that weren't allowed to be who and all they are within me. Yeah. The legitimate. And so it's like a lot of it is like being judged and being cast out and being exiled and not being able to be myself. So like hiding different parts of myself for safekeeping so that I could belong and be included in the family or whatever, or in a group. And like I understand what that's like in certain ways, but there's part of me like that always railed against that and really, really, really resented that. And there was times in my life where I just wouldn't and I couldn't go along with stuff just to fit in or belong. And so that's why I've always felt like the black sheep or the outcast, and playing at being that, like when I know I really do belong. And like, but yeah, I needed to like kind of realize that for myself in and through my own ways. But this is what was coming up for me, and yeah, I just kind of just feeling upset and disappointed that I wasn't heard and I wasn't honored and I wasn't seen and I wasn't considered. That's just how it felt for me. But it wasn't really about me. So I've been here before. My cries, my warnings, my visions, my dreams, paranormal encounters, my distress, my pain, my gifts and abilities were not heard, listened to, acknowledged, believed, or taken seriously. I was not valued. I was not safe. My gifts were not welcome, and they were shoved away or exiled, given away, rejected, hidden, forgotten for safekeeping. It hurt so much to be devalued, disregarded, and dismissed, dehumanized and demonized, scapegoated and sacrificed, discarded, silenced, minimized, rejected, slandered, targeted, blamed, ostracized, vilified, exiled, shamed, humiliated, abandoned, and crucified. The martyr, whore, orphan, and wounded child. So the self-pity that was coming up, like where I was like, I've had like really low tolerance for bullshit lately and self-pity woes and entitled complaints. So I'm like, okay, let's look at that then. Because yeah, it is absurd and it's ridiculous, like in certain ways, like seeing it on the outside, the way that it's playing out. And it's just like, yeah. Seriously. Anyways, so self-pity. Feeling sorry for myself because I wasn't heard, seen, listened to, valued, considered, believed, taken seriously, rescued, parented, mothered, received in the ways that I wanted my parents to receive me, or that nurturing figure, whoever that was, that external authority. Yeah, that was either a parent or a surrogate parent, you know, someone to love me, because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to love and care for me. And so it was someone else's responsibility and they let me down, you know? But I let myself down, and that's what I felt so guilty about, letting myself and letting others down by going against myself. And so that was, yeah, in there as well, like in my poison pen letter. So that's okay. I was feeling sad for many reasons, and some of everything. I was feeling sad because I couldn't save them, that I may lose them. I was feeling, yeah, grief because we're going our own ways, and they may suffer, and they may be lost to me. They may abandon me. This is what I was feeling. And they may, yeah, not remember who I am. Feeling grief around being deceived and duped. Like that we've all been deceived and fooled and tricked and duped and tricked into fighting each other and to blaming each other and not coming together and making peace, you know. So, yeah, very angry about that.
and grieving the fact that they may suffer long-term effects or injury, death, or adverse events, that they may die or have altered or shortened their lifespan, that they didn't listen, believe, and couldn't see me. It's related to my original wound of exile, abandonment, and disallowance of me. So I forgive you, Mom and Dad. I love you always, Mom and Dad. I thank you greatly, Mom and Dad. I bless you always, Mom and Dad. I praise you and I honor you, Mom and Dad. I release you, Mom and Dad, with love. I forgive you, Mom and Dad. Till we meet again, be well, farewell, and thank you, Mom and Dad. So, yeah, I haven't been able to really express myself and be who I really am in certain ways. But I've been working with that and working through that in my own ways. And accepting myself. And that was another beautiful blessing and miracle of forgiveness and love and being a witness and paying attention and being receptive and softening and opening. This is Swan Medicine. I've been working with Swan Medicine, and that's awakening to the true beauty and power of the self, self-love and self-acceptance, and the power of grace, like dreaming and becoming, trusting the unknown and the great mystery, the power of the divine voice and the soul's song. Strength, faith, trust, and connection, linking the above and below, the inner and the outer, the high and the low, the old and the new, the within and the without, dark and light, spirit and soul, heart and mind, feminine and masculine, one with the whole. Dreamtime navigation, earth and sky, the great void, formless forms, future, present, past, transformation and letting go, grace, mercy, and compassion, surrender to be whole. So I did realize that it was all about rejection, abandonment, and betrayal. So, man, humility. We don't have control over anything, really. We may like to think that we do, but we don't. All we can do is choose and respond, receive and allow. Have compassion, be present, engage, and be here now. Wanting to move on and move forward, let go and release, be here and hold on. Paradoxes and weirdness, irrational knowing and intelligence, grace and forgiveness, youth and innocence, naivety and ignorance, wisdom gained through experience, wisdom gained, earned, and learned through experience, pearls of wisdom. So unwind, so relax, so remind, and cut some slack. We are all going through it all right now. So let go, relax into love and acceptance. Let go and just be here right now. Let my ideas and ideals of perfect go, allow. Let my loved ones be and let go now. Let go of what their experience should be, allow now. Let it go, let them go, breathe, be here now. It's okay to let go and allow. Surrender and remember, center and allow. Trust and let go, love, be here all now. And so, yeah, there was some interesting energies coming up too, where certain things needed to come up because they needed to be addressed and, directed in a new way. And so I had this weird dream on the 19th, and I'll just share it. And I really didn't think much of it. And then I read it again this morning, and then I was like, oh, that's super interesting. I kind of saw some things about it that I didn't see originally. But it's a short little dream here. So it seems like I was having a dream, and I was with a sort of like Blade Runner type of android, like from the original movie. And it was like she was a clownish doll, and yeah, it was interesting. So maybe she was a person, but she seemed like an Autobot emotive, or like it seemed like Autobot emotive or automated responses. So I'm arranging her hands or her arms to embrace me when she doesn't open up as I want her to, or to like receive me. And she's like an android or a checked out human being. Anyway, later the scene plays back just for me from multiple angles and multiple screens.
So it showed me several different vantage points and angles to view this situation from. Yeah, from like above and below, and from the right and the left, and from, yeah, within and without, and all of that. And so it was really interesting, like the way that it played out. And yeah, like I was like going through it, but then later, like I could see like from all of these different angles what it was about. And so anyway, there's a scene that plays back for me to help me see just what's at play, to help me see the acting or the manipulation. What's authentic and what is expected are two very different type of things. The rose-colored glasses and wishful thinking come crashing down, sometimes hard and sometimes easy. It just depends on how attached I am to the story, or my need to see things, or me and we and she as one-sided, flat, or 3D, or falsely, superficially perfect. Static, without flaw or blemish. Am I canceling the dual nature? Like, yeah, what's that about? Like, I don't expect it to have its opposite. Like, I just want it to be one way. Or, yeah, that was just one way of seeing things, or seeing me, or seeing we. Um, it's almost like dancing a ballet. I wrote, like, it's almost like dancing a ballet sonnet, wanting it to be graceful, flowing, and easy, mesmerizing, and romantic, heartfelt fairy tale story. But it's, but always account for the trickster, always account for issue. So the story of the trickster of duality all has its dual nature and its double or twin. And this can lead to self-serving agendas and self-sabotage and deception, the struggle and the inner conflicts that keep us at war with ourselves. And so I thought that was like really, yeah, profound. A gift for me to receive. And so, yeah, what happened this week, I found out that both of my parents, who are getting up there in age, and they're in their 70s, they decided to go get that injection that I am not going to consent to, and that I do not agree to, and that, yeah, I will not comply with or conform to. And obviously, I'm worried about them and their well being, because I know that there's more risk than benefit, and it's experimental. And so I was really hoping that I could save them, and I could talk to them, and they would listen, and they would hear me, and they would see me, and they would understand, and they would know, you know, they would awaken. But it didn't happen. And it's okay, because I've like slowly let it go over the last 5-6 months that it may not happen, and there's nothing that I can do to change their mind or to change their own path, and like really kind of letting go of the need to, because they have their own path and their own journey to take. And I don't know like what contracts they've made and what kind of soul lessons their soul asked to receive. And so I just get to allow and accept it, like whatever happens, and just let them receive what they need, and let them have their choices and their accountability. But like it still, like it really did bring up a lot of wounds, or it triggered and activated like this very, very old wound, this original wound of exile, abandonment, and rejection, and not being seen, and not being heard, and not being acknowledged, and like being demonized, like for having another way of being, another way of seeing. And so, wow, what a tinderbox of emotions yesterday. This is from the 19th. Meltdowns and blowouts, unpredictable, forceful, thrusting, fiery energies, in need of an outlet, a channel, a direction to alchemize or procreate, or a container, a safe container, a sacred space to focus, listen, heart, hearth, fireplace, cauldron, earth, water, fire, tempering the soul, tempering the wisdom, through the golden soul and the garden soil, hummus and wisdom. I feel an energetic hangover from yesterday, from all the highs and lows and everything in between, choosing and feeling into hope, faith, and strength, but also feeling some discouragement, sorrow, grief, regret, and some relief. Because I get to surrender and give back all of these things, for I cannot control anything. I found out yesterday that Mom got the first shot and will be getting the second shot on Saturday. Super sad about this and shocked in a way because I thought she was aware just a bit of certain risks and certain agendas at play. But she went with the herd. She believed what she heard. And her own group, her beloved church leaders said, well, it's okay. And she said, well, I prayed about it, and our wonderful elders and leaders are okay with it and doing fine. So that's what she decided. So, oh my God, okay, well, what else can I say? Monkey see, monkey do, conformity and social psychology techniques at play to influence the masses and encourage groupthink. That's just how I feel about that. And so for some reason, like, she mentioned some kind of story that triggered something in her, like something while we were on the phone. And I was just kind of like doing my best to be in acceptance, but it was like a punch to the gut. Like, I totally knew that my dad was going to go get it because he's said from the onset pretty much like what a big believer he is in our healthcare system and, you know, all of that jazz. And like, yeah, I've tried to talk to him over the years about different things, but we could only agree to disagree, and that's okay because we have other areas of common ground that we can stand together and unify on, you know, and there is mutual care and love there. And so it's just like I kind of like knew, and I kind of prepared myself and said goodbye in my own ways to my dad like months and months ago, because I really didn't feel like there was anything that was going to change his mind, and I couldn't do it. Like, he's the only one that can change his mind, and just give him some time, you know, like if he doesn't feel comfortable or safe around me, like if he's afraid of my body or my being or, yeah, my breath, yeah, and being with me, like, okay, like that's sad and that hurts and that feels like rejection, but it's not really about me. It's about a choice he's made to keep himself safe and sheltered, and like it's his choice and his right to care for himself the way he sees fit. So I'm going to honor that, but like even though I don't agree with it, and I think it's sad because it really does contribute to isolation and separation, but I understand like why he feels he needs to choose that. But with my mom was a little more open with me and more open and willing to listen to other points of view and to what I had to say. And so it was like a very kind of almost a shock to hear that, oh yeah, I went and got that and I'm going to get it my second. And I was just like, what? Okay. And I was just feeling like, all right, okay, I agree that you have total free will and it's up to you to choose what you need and all of that, but it was just a punch in the gut to me. And so I got off the phone with her and I was just started to cry. Just had to like let that go and just like kind of like let it move through me and just release it and let it go and just let the outcome go and let everything around it go. And then like I had this other voice come up and like, oh, I'm going to be an orphan again. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like being an orphan implies that I'm still a child. And so like, let's look at that, you know, like where do I need to mother or parent or comfort myself or show up for myself and nurture myself and hold myself and accept myself. And so just looking at those things when they came up to show me. But she had mentioned this story because I had, you know, said, you know, I've been researching certain things since before 2012, and like, yeah, do you remember me telling you about this and this? Or yeah, I just want you to know that, yeah, it wasn't just some kind of decision that I've recently come to. I've been looking into certain things for a long time. I've been looking into the darkness and looking into the lies and looking into the shadow for a long time. And so it just sucks not to be believed. But it's like, okay, I guess if there's nothing that they can compare it to, it's like the allegory of the cave, Plato's allegory of the cave, when they've just seen the shadows flickering on the wall, and they've told themselves stories about it. And then one prisoner gets free and actually sees like the 360-degree view of the cave, and sees like the fire behind them that wasn't seen before, and where the shadows are coming from that get projected onto the wall, you know, of the cave. And then realizing that there's an entrance out of the cave, and then there's actual like sunlight that has never been seen, and stepping out from that cave into the sunlight, into the new light, it can hurt our eyes, and it burns, and it takes a little while to adjust to that new sight and that new light and that new vision. And then like seeing like this entirely new world unfold like through this new vision, and then coming back so excited to share with the others in the cave who are still in the cave, like to share with them what we've seen, and that creates some suspicion and distrust, and like they want to cling further to their chains in a lot of different ways, and like don't want to be released, and then they want you to come back and chain yourself back to them again. But once we've been out of the cave, we can't go back to being asleep in that, kind of a thing. And so that's a little bit challenging, like just to let them be. And yeah, if that's what they want to believe, like the shadows are the real world, and that the sunlight and the world beyond the cave doesn't exist, or is an illusion, or a conspiracy. So anyways, so she told me about this story that she had seen about Dr. Oz. And I don't watch TV, but I know that guy's a fraud and a shill. Anyways, that's my opinion. I'll just leave it at that. So she was sharing that like there was this story on his show where a wife and a husband had to let go of each other because she was deep into conspiracies and was always going down to certain rabbit holes, until she was wild and out of control and had a meltdown at a Target, and she unleashed her rage all over the store. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Trying to target or scapegoat an aware truth teller and make them look crazy, unhinged, and unstable. So that's like the seeds that are being implanted into people's mind through these stories in certain ways. I mean, I know we all have our moments and things like that, but like, why are certain stories and agendas being pushed? Like, yeah, what's the drive behind that? What does that reinforce? Anyways, that's too bad, really. Making a random example to paint a flat picture or a 2D or 3D caricature of these types of conspiring personalities. Oh, I guess we're the ones that need to be schooled, medicated, re-educated, indoctrinated in order to be cool and more socially acceptable and stable. Responsible. LOL, I was doing my best to center, allow, and be in acceptance, but I really thought she was not going to choose to do that or to get that. But I guess like the social engineering and the greater good pressure tactics won her over in the end. And so I was feeling like I may soon become an orphan again. And that was very interesting to see, because that implies that I'm a child eternally. The epicure and the orphan, mourning the loss of innocence and carefree childhood days, and the feelings of abandonment, rejection, and betrayal coming up to be seen. Death, life, and rebirth cycles, death, life, rebirth themes, hope and renewal, acceptance, mercy, grace, and a refusal. Is that a to refuse or to refuse? Yeah. Some of me is in resistance, but I'm willing to call on and call in snake medicine to assist me in my lessons of transmutation through forgiveness and self-love and acceptance, and letting go of my agendas and preferences, my fairy tale stories of savior, hero, martyr, monster, damsel, victim, the good girl, the wild child, the slave, master, tyrant, villain, the judge, the sacrificial lamb, the scapegoat, boogeyman, heroine, wise one, and mystic stories. Oh, myths and stories. And so, yeah, during this time, my dog and my husband have been going through a hard time as well, like where they have had some external injuries where they've needed a little bit of extra help. And so that was weird when that came up last week. And it was just like certain things have been neglected and unaddressed and not confronted for too long. And so now it was the opportunity for them to come up and be cared for, and have action taken to care for them, in certain ways. And so, like, it was an interesting time, like, where a lot of those signs and dynamics and things that were coming up and could be seen in certain ways, like, oh, this is what this is asking me to do, like, to show up and care for it, and to have, like, to let go of, like, what I think I'm supposed to do, just surrender everything, suspend like the hanged man, and be open to, like, what love is asking me, and to take action, like inspired action, to care for and to care through. And um, so I guess there really is no way to save others from their own pain or suffering, or their own process of grief, their own process of learning, their own path, their own journey. But we can choose to love them and allow them as they are, as they will be, and as they get to be. And I talked to my auntie this morning after writing out the first few pages for today, and she is also mourning, grieving, and releasing and shedding, letting go and surrendering. It is always so great to talk and share with her. We are always so on the same page or wavelength, and we can relate so easily, beautifully, and mutually. Thank God for our soul tribe and family, allies, companions, friends, support, and human family. So also checking in with some of my peeps today about my Sunday spring equinox circle, see if they're coming to play. We all really need each other. And some of my friends are going through a hard time. They've recently lost some loved ones. And so really sending out love and compassion and care for them at this time. And so there is a life, death, rebirth cycles, and like the grieving process, and allowing ourselves to feel all we need to feel, and being a compassionate witness, holding space and listening. And so just a little bit more about like my continuity of forgiveness, and seeing that the inner and outer changes, the cleansing and releasing, grieving processes being honored and allowed to unfold and be released, integrated, digested, assimilated, practiced, spoken, embodied, and lived, given, shared, played with, creative energies and creative play, blissful joy and sensuality, intimacy and union, love and acceptance, alchemical marriage, the two in one union, two in divine union, the twins, twin flames, heroes, gamos, reunion. And March 20th, so that was all from the 19th. So on spring equinox, I was getting all these things flooding in and coming in, and inspiration, to kind of inspire me for our circle, and just all of the available and accessible energies that are so abundant right now for us to call on, and for us to draw and draw from and draw in, and draw and bring forth through our being, through our lives. And I love it. Like all of this potential and possibility, and linking the inner and the outer, and the above and the below, and the old and the new. And and the circle of all things, the dark and the light in union, together again, to gather, to synthesize, to blend, for the harmonious whole, new love, growth, and expansion, transformation. So write your new stories, create and renew your own life, and renew your own energy, raise your awareness, consciousness, and frequency, letting go of resistance, through playing in the infinite field of creative possibility, lessons in love and forgiveness, the golden keys, inner knowing, in joy, presence, reception, and being a witness, engagement, response, and participation in service to the whole, with love for all. Balance, union, synthesis, alignment, connectedness, relationships, the privilege, opportunity, gift of wholeness, oneness, fullness, emptiness, life, death, and rebirth, life cycles, creation cycles, growth cycles, continuity, trinity, fertility, creativity, diversity, possibility, opportunity, discovery, being, becoming, and blooming. And forgiveness. Forgiveness of betrayal, rejection, and abandonment. Compassion for all others who are grieving deeply and in fear, pain, or suffering, lost in anger or self-loathing, ego, vanity, or flattery, assumptions, self-deceptions, and savior-judge-victim dynamics, and groupthink mentality, operating through ego machinations on the lower pain body, the lower emotional 3. It is interesting to see because I can transform it, see it, meet it, and integrate, release, and transmute these patterns and beliefs, myths, stories, distortions, thought forms, projections, perceptions, constructs, dynamics, old ways of operating, seeing, thinking, receiving, and absorbing. Fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, making nice with our abusers, trying so hard to please and to seek approval and validity from the external authority that can supposedly prove to me and we our worth, value, legitimacy, belonging, or secure stability. Are we addicted to the feedback or to the image or the story? Unconsciously driven to prove that I am worthy or deserving of belonging, approval, acceptance, and inclusion, existing, living, breathing, being free to be and fully express myself in my sovereignty and authenticity. I forgive the bullshitified bullshitters and their bullshit ways. I forgive the distorted clown shoes and the clown car of conformity, division, pain, self-pity, hatred, and suffering. I forgive the judge, ego, executioner on the hamster wheel of samsara. I forgive the greed, envy, apathy, jealousy, pride, arrogance, and vanity that reinforces the false stories of separation and poverty consciousness. The ego's one-way street. I forgive the tyrant, the whore, the wounded child, the villain, the monster, the destroyer, the liar, the fraud, and the saboteur. I forgive the victim, the epicure, the wounded parent, the martyr, the scapegoat, the ghost, and the addict. I forgive myself and all others. I forgive my family. I forgive my mother and father. I forgive my elders, teachers, leaders, mentors. I forgive my friends, acquaintances, and neighbors. I forgive my community. I forgive myself and the world. I forgive all. I release all. I thank all. I bless all. I love all. Through loving my whole self, I forgive all to forgive myself. I free myself to be myself, to know thyself, to receive myself, to be one with myself and all that I am. I am that, I am that, I know that I am. I am a living extension of the divine principle of love. I am that, I am that, I am that, I love. I am love for all of me. I know that I am. I am this love God's given me to be. I choose this love and I claim it for me. I know my worth, value, and my legitimacy. Thank you, life, love, light, and fertile darkness of the great mystery, to be one, to be in love, to be at peace in me, to love all I am, to love all of me. And so that was the last page of this journal, which I started on the day of my Imbolc circle, and it ended on the day of my spring equinox circle. And so that's like an awesome, potent 6 weeks here in this book here, and gems and nuggets abundant in here. And yeah, so a lot of good work and good cheer, as well as like all of the grief and all of the fear and the pain and the suffering, and letting that go, releasing that and transmuting that, and freeing up the energy, like to create something else and to renew, like to renew what's really true and honor, all of it. Recycle and give back all that's no longer needed, all that's no longer mine to carry, all that I'm ready to release. I willingly release, and I thank and forgive and allow and let go with love and with gratitude and with humility. And I've gone over an hour, and so I would like to come back for a part 2 and share the Chariot from Lee J. McCloskey's book, Tarot Revisioned, and also go back to Women Who Run with the Wolves and the story of the Handless Maiden, because that was something that I read last week or a couple days ago, and I was blown away by it. And I've still been wanting to share it, and I've been like digesting it and processing it, and would like to share. But thank you for listening, and thanks for being here. And of lessons in forgiveness, I bless and praise and thank you all for helping me know what it is to know myself and to know what I am not, to remember who I really am and all I really am. Thank you for the lessons in forgiveness, and thank you. Let's remember who we are. Yeah, I'll remember until, until we all do. And I'll choose to focus on that and remember to see the light within everyone. And also, to see things as they are and not to put my rose colored glasses back on, but understand, that we're all, becoming who we already are. And we're all discovering and remembering. And it's a dance of remembering and forgetting. And that's like the dance of Shiva as well. The dance of Shiva and Shakti. And like the dance of destruction and creation. And the renewer and the destroyer. And all of those. Yeah. All of those elements that are a part of the whole. And that dual nature. And so, love y'all. Be well. Be love for yourselves. Okay, talk to you again soon.